Hello, welcome back. This is episode 4, or part 4. I honestly still haven't decided whether I want to call these parts or episodes, so I'll just do a little bit of both, because why not? Nobody wants consistency. Everything's gotta be chaos. That is why I will always leave my videos unedited and unchanged, so you'll get all of the weird outtakes and quirkiness of my personality. Alright. Time for the Stanley Parable 2! I'm doing jazz hands, in case that wasn't already obvious. Okay. Well, it wasn't really that obvious, that's why I had to... Hey, you know what? Moving on. Let's see what he has cooked up for us. It's literally gonna be the same game, isn't it? It's just gonna be Ultra Deluxe, but not Ultra Deluxe. And now is it just gonna say 2 from now on? I have a backup of the game save, so if I need to completely delete the game and redo everything so that I can experience things brand new again.
This is the story of a man.
I'm actually gonna
named
let this
Stanley.
play. I want to see if it's new.
Stanley worked for a company
Yep,
in a big building
it is new.
where he was employee number
Alright,
427.
let's watch the story.
Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-ripping, Stanley relished every moment
There's
that
an
the
Easter
orders
egg
came
if you do
in,
the instructions.
as though he had been
playing.
made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Until...
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
I just want to check something. I set the clock before starting this. Yeah, I still don't know what the point of setting the clock is. Because that's not what I set it to. Oh well. I think that's the point. Wait a second. F1? Oh, I didn't do anything.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Hey, my bucket.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
I don't think I can actually put this down.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
You know... Oh, listen. I have my bucket now.
still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Maybe.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Bro, I wonder if they actually sell those. I don't really want to go in here, but I will. I don't like this space.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for it. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms.
Am
like
I
this crazy?
ending.
He asked the bucket.
I've been intentionally avoiding
The bucket returned his
it.
gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed,
why did you take my bucket?
Were repeating.
Why did you take my bucket? 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 Why did you take my bucket?
Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad.
Give me
Where
my
is
bucket.
it? I must find it.
Give me.
Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket! Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket. Come to me, Stanley. Find me. He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Okay.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh, God.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place.
But I had...
How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought. And she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this.
You know, this actually
There were a
works.
myriad
It's
of
entertaining.
confusing problems
It's
she would
just a
soon have to confront at
stupid
work,
bucket,
for which
but
the
it's
bucket
so
would provide
fucking
absolute
good.
guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Backflipped. I only did that ending because of collectible. Now I know. Where's my bucket? I want my bucket. Give me my
All of his
freaking
co-workers
bucket.
were gone. What could it mean?
Give me my bucket.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Yeah, it's definitely way more relaxing with the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the
They said
door
it was
on
in
his
the meeting
left.
room. There will. Heyo! A large room, lot of boxes, somewhere both red and blue. Oh. Nearby a fireplace, a private but smelly place for an important person. Okay, so the boss room. I know where that is. I'm gonna watch this real quick. I have my companion bucket. Now this does feel like Portal now. Fucking got my companion cube.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
There should be one in here.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? Or What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
There was a one under the fireplace there. I remember it saying something about that. I'm just curious if this does something different. Oh! The pause screen is different. Oh. Oh yeah, I forgot I started a different episode. For some reason I thought we were close to time, but it's only been 15 minutes. Nothing changed in there. Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for the soothing but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
But I thought fireplace.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Sorry, I'm not talking too much. I'm honestly, I'm kind of just like drawn into the game. I'm genuinely entertained.
The elevator
and I guess
raced
I am
downward,
entertained by
plummeting
gimmicks.
towards an unknown fate.
Oh well.
It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be
As long as
right.
it doesn't crash my game.
The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything
I'll
will
do
be
the proper
fine.
ending this time. For once in my life, I'm going to
Stanley
follow
and the
along
bucket
without
walked straight
getting
ahead through the
distracted.
large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine. Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter, his one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
I want to press these in order. But I'd have to get up here. I wonder if the only way to do that is to save. No.
When at last they came, but at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became active again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Oh no, my bucket, it's broken. No. Oh my God. Okay, I admittedly that was a really stupid joke. But if you know, you know. Oh, come on. You're taking quite a long time. I think it's 'cause it's restarted. The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. I've gotten a bunch of those.
All of his co-workers were
Where's the
gone.
next one?
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No
Only have
matter
one
how
left.
hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I know that one of the figurines is,
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
No, I must check. Sorry. Okay, they didn't glitch out the recording. Okay.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good,
said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
But I need to go that way. Oh my God.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin.
What in the fuck?
Item 1. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
What? What?
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
What? Can I not fail? I'm gonna put no on everything.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
No.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
But it looks the same.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one.
Uh-huh. Wait, this isn't a trapdoor, is it?
Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket.
What? I swear to God, if it gives me a tractor.
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Uh-huh.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something. And therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. Yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do
I
any
love
of us
this.
know what a bucket is?
Okay.
A bucket. Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry, but I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No.
Okay, here we go.
Oh.
What happened? Is everything gone?
Because
Why did everything disappear? Wait,
everything
was
is
everything a bucket?
Everything was a
Every
bucket.
single thing in the game was a bucket.
Yep.
Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue. But it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what. I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
We're about halfway through the recording. Okay. I haven't had this much fun in a game in a while. I mean, I absolutely love Minecraft. I've been playing it for years. The problem is, I've been playing it for years. I can't play it for more than like a half hour before I get bored now. I try not to play it too much because I get burnt out very easily on it, even though it was my favorite game growing up. But it is what it is. Also, sorry for the loud peak in the I wanted to know what it did. What did it do? Buttons. Buttons. Is there a way out of here? It's a faith party. I physically can't press. Okay, I actually want out of this now. I hope that doesn't break it, because I actually don't think there was a way out of there. I better not have broke it. I'm actually going to be genuinely pissed. So I didn't want to totally restart. The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. Oh, thank goodness. I know not to push that now.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
The story goes normally without the bucket.
Wow. Yes. This room.
Okay.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your... You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one. And then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Okay.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger.
Hold on. I'm actually genuinely going to try. I just got to make sure I have enough time. Alright, I got 20 minutes.
You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful
I'm actually
game,
going to try.
all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
I'm going to play as long as I can. I just want to know if it does something. That's enough of that.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me?
How
Because
about
if
both?
it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Okay. Let's check the recording while we're doing that. Okay. Menu loading. Alright. Okay. Good to know. I did like the infinite hole. That was probably my favorite area. I don't remember. I think that was in the last episode. If you haven't seen that, I highly recommend you go. It's actually kind of entertaining. Genuinely so. Okay.
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
I wonder how they got the permission to do these.
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man, spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower. Perhaps for some sort of twisted, erotic purpose.
Kinky.
Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems
Actually
there's
looks
even
kinda
more.
cool.
Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Bruh, the fucking Minecraft door sounds. This is an open world game.
Oh no. No, it can't be.
Oh.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank
But
heavens
I like
we avoided it.
non-linear
We're out of the
games.
woods now, Stanley.
I want
Okay,
an open
I'm
world
going to get us
game,
out of
damn
here.
it.
Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls.
I mean, that
something
is
with
why
nice, big,
I
insurmountable
like
walls.
Minecraft so much.
Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Oh, I see. Okay. Take your time. Take your time there, narrator. Oh my god.
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice
Freaking
big box
Rocket
for
League.
you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
It's actually kind of cool.
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun. Hold on. What are you doing?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back. You still have to...
That's a lot of lights. They're ceiling titty lights. That's the best kind. Here's my office. It's a bit different now, but I recognize it. Okay. No.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice.
I
And if
was.
he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me.
No, I
Someone
don't.
who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear
Oh,
and the
but
confusion.
the chaos
That's
is
who I am.
amazing.
That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back.
I
There's no other
love
way.
chaos. You
Once
gotta
this
sow
ends, after it all
discontent
comes
into
to
the
a
world.
close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon.
The world
I
needs
can wait.
pain. For without pain, you cannot have peace. You must have sadness to have happiness. You must have chaos to have order. So, you need it. A little bit of chaos is, yes, it is quite nice. Actually, that might be a good, wrap up point. Just because I've only got 10 minutes left. I guess I can go check the, I can go check the board. I want to find I want to try to find the last collectible in this episode, or at least get the location. And I will wrap up in that meeting room. Well, we'll see.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Wait. A large room with a lot of boxes. Huh. I'm not even gonna bother.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
I want to know what happens if you get all the collectibles. So a big room with a lot of boxes. I have a feeling that's the right path on the initial. Right now I'm just trying to get to where actually. I could do it that way, but that's no fun.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
We're gonna do it this way. Alright, guys. We're gonna wrap up this episode. I will seek out the last one. I think I know where it's at. I have a feeling I know where it's at. I could be wrong, though. I don't know. We'll have to find out in the next episode. So, with all of that, I'm going to go ahead and end this recording. We'll see you on the next episode.